Right, okay then. We are now on to the Branchwych for, I forgot what issue we're on now, 44 I think, of Stormbringer. And hopefully it's going to be an easy build. As you can see, it's just a very, very small model. However, the issue with this one, and I'm sure we'll find out very quickly, is like with a lot of Sylvaneth ones, they look absolutely gorgeous, but they are also very, very like brittle and fiddly parts. So let's see how this goes. Hopefully it will be an easy build though. So I'm going to start off getting part 1 out, which is this one here. So some tight areas to get my clippers into. Okay, so that's the main body. I can see already though one of the big issues with this one is there's loads of little bits. Okay, so here's number 2. Basically, I find when a model is like this, where the main body has been separated into lots and lots and lots of little bits, the risk is quite high of, you know, parts not setting properly, shifting and things like that. So let's see if I can get this right. As you can see, it's like you got to get these mold lines and things off, but it's such a small model. I mean, you know, for a character model, it's very small, you know, you can see. So yeah, I do definitely love these Sylvaneth though. I think, as I said, there's just something about the whole range. Oh good, I've got some good news. They actually have like proper little supports for some of these pieces. I'm really pleased about that. Some models, they don't have like that, and they just kind of slip and slide all over the place. So that's definitely a positive for this model. I wish I had time to do like a proper, you know, like when I'm building these models, like a kind of pros and cons kind of thing while I'm building them. I don't know whether or not that'll make my videos more interesting. Who knows? And it's just the time it takes to do the extra editing though. Right. Ooh. Just look at that. I blew some bits away and it went. Okay, other leg number 3. Again, doing the other leg now. Let's see if this has got a nice little, yeah, now. Gosh, come on. I think while I was tidying it up, I kind of damaged the connection point. Oh yeah, I think there's supposed to be like a little thing on this, you know, to hook it in. And what I've done while I've been tidying it up, I've accidentally sliced it off. So now trying to get its positioning right is going to be a little bit more difficult. Not completely impossible, but I've just got to find it, haven't I? Yeah, the leg goes forward. It definitely goes forward. There we go. That's where it meant to go. Forward like that, which if I hadn't accidentally clipped off the attachment would have been more sensible. So there we go, stands forward. Good. Do you know, I was worried that this was going to be one of those where it's such a difficult one. Let's get number 4 off, you know, because of the small parts and the number of parts for such a small model. Now, get into it. Oh, I might need my proper knife for this one. I could imagine as you could potentially do a lot of conversion, you know, so if you wanted to make it look new, unique, maybe get some spare parts from other kits so that you could model it how you wanted. Let me check the fit on this one as well. This is like the back part and the arms. Really important that this is well cleaned because it's got to kind of sit in here properly, and you can see it's got to really close that gap, so if it's not clean it's not going to go in. You can see, so you've got to get this in right, because if you don't, then you're going to get a kind of a split point where it's not going to be properly bonded. You can see just there, it kind of springs back a little bit as you push it in. So if you need to, pull it out and put it back in a few times to make sure the glue forms the bond that you want. Okay, now, yeah, this is turning into a really easy build. Let's grab 5 and 7. So here's number 7, which is this hair trail. And get number 5 out, which is one of the arm parts. Still in the process of thinking how I'm going to get this summer theme for these to be perfect. It said they've got to feel like they've got a lot of life, and I don't really want to start painting anything until I move house. Gosh, I hope my house deal doesn't fall through, because I've said it so many times online now, haven't I? It's gonna be like absolutely disastrous if I don't end up moving house. If I don't move house, I'll just pretend I've moved house. I'll just kind of change the cover on my desk, maybe change my mat, and then pretend that you know, I now live in a 5-bedroom mansion somewhere. Right, yeah, this goes on here. It is a bit of a weird positioning by the feel of it. Kind of hooked it more inwards. That's how it's coming across anyway. Just gonna double check that, because yeah, it's like got a strange positioning, and I just want to make sure I'm not getting it wrong, because yeah, it's going like that. Yeah, it definitely kind of curves more inwards towards the chest of the model. wiggling just right here. Yeah, I'll make sure that it's taking shape on both sides. You can see it kind of, the fist kind of comes in towards the shoulder. Okay. Hair pod, again, it's popping on the top here. You see that there's kind of like, there is a kind of hook almost just here where it does fit in quite easily, so you should be able to feel your way into that. Okay, so like that. Said it's, I don't know, I mean, I don't know how you're finding it, but I'm finding this a very easy build. Number 9, it's head now. Then it looks like it's got a set of like antlers or something that go on top of the head, which is number 8, so let's get them out. So was really worried that this thing was going to be like constantly trying to stop things snapping, and I've not come across that problem yet. Right. Now, I'm pretty certain I need to cut that a bit off, but let's just make sure that I'm not getting that wrong. Sure, it does cut off, but with the way that sometimes these have like little specialised hooks, yeah, definitely comes off that. Just the way I cut it from the sprue. I've noticed there's a definite theme on Age of Sigmar about things being dead, you know, and being brought back to life in different ways. You know, not just on the death magic side, but also on the order side. You know, stormcasts are basically, you know, brought back to life constantly and endlessly. No doubt about that, that they are basically immortal. Well, not immortal per se, probably more perpetuals, I think would be the right Games Workshop term for them, the right Warhammer term. As in, the same body just gets regrown and regrown wherever it lands with a bit of help. You know, with the Sylvaneth, the feeling that they are, there's no doubt about it, I'm convinced that they're wood elves from the old world who have been, you know, reanimated inside trees. You know, I just feel like there's even on the side that isn't death related, there's that feeling of, you know, reanimation. Now, reading up on the lore of the Age of Myth within the Age of Sigmar, that's a pain to say, there's definitely a feeling that, you know, when Nagash was not planning a full realm of death and nothing else, he has obviously been working alongside Sigmar early on. So of course, they're, you know, learning about death magic. And of course, if you know your Old Hammer lore, you would also know that Sigmar, when he was mortal, actually picked up the crown of Nagash. And it basically, you know, spoke to him in the same way that it does Azag the Slaughterer. Hey, this thing keeps falling off. Don't do that. I'm sure I gave you enough glue. Again. Don't want too much glue on that part, you see. Alright, try that again, shall we? Yeah, so, you know, there's that connection that was there between them. Yeah, the Crown of Sorcery obviously was Nagash's great artifact. So, and it's been found and worn by a couple of different heroes that I know of since Nagash in the old world. So first, there we go, cool. First it was picked up obviously by Sigmar, but even then I think someone might have had it before that, number 6, and then so Nagash would talk to Sigmar through that when he was mortal. Then after that it managed to find its way into the hands of an orc called Azag the Slaughterer, who is not one of my favourite orcs. He might be my favourite orc, to be quite honest. I used to, you know, love that model. And yeah, the thing about that is, like, from there, Azag wore it for a long time. Completely, like, an orc who somehow had firm tactical knowledge. Before they took away the ability to do it, which annoyed me, he used to be able to actually raise skeletons using it. They took that ability away towards the end of Old Hammer. But yeah, he was actually able to raise a unit of skeletons at some point, which is a really, really useful little thing for an orc to be able to do. You can imagine the chaos it caused when a wyvern riding orc war boss charged everyone from behind and then brought in a bunch of skeletons to help him out at the same time. So yeah, back to the point that I was thinking I was making anyways. Death seems to be a real important part of the Age of Sigmar, but not just for the faction of death, but even this faction is inherently dead. Come on, come on. Trying to get in the right position, you see. It goes like that, but you imagine that's going to be a pain painting. I think that thing's going to constantly be the bane of my existence, constantly dropping off while I'd paint. Right, 11 and 10 now, and this is its whatever this thing is called. Segmipede, maybe? I've just read that in a book that there's segmipedes, so it could be a segmipede. Yeah, there was one of these in Badloon Rising, but a giant one. So that was quite an interesting part of the book. Right, let me get this right. It's got a weird positioning, this thing. I'm putting it the wrong way. Yeah, I am. I think I'm just putting it the wrong way. Gosh, you are difficult to line up. What is with you? You can see roughly how it lines up, but wherever I seem to place it, oh, maybe it doesn't go up. Maybe it moves. Maybe that's why. I'm thinking that it goes upwards and it actually goes downwards. So instead of it feels like it goes in there like that. That's how it feels, but every time I kind of try and twist it into the right position, it doesn't feel right. And it definitely kind of slides down over the back of this. So basically, it's going to end up kind of here in position. So I'm definitely not gluing this thing on, by the way, because it feels like it's going to be easier to paint if I don't. It will kind of wrap around this arm when it's actually on, so it's kind of like sitting on this arm by the feel of it. So if the segmapede faces that way, I think this is, I'm calling it segmapede, I'm just assuming that's what it is because I've read it in a book recently. Yeah, and then it kind of twists and heads downwards. Now, it feels like it goes there, but when I try and push the actual pin in, it doesn't seem to connect. It's so hard to see in that little gap there, isn't it? Such a strange piece. It definitely goes down. It definitely kind of points like kind of away from it. Such a strange... hang on. There, it takes a bit of wiggling to get it in, but it does finally settle in this kind of position. See why you don't start adding glue until you're sure with some things. Now, because this thing is very clearly separate from the Branchwych, I'm just going to be careful with it, not to... I'm not going to glue it onto her so that I can paint them separate. If I put that the wrong way again, let me double check. That was it, wasn't it? Yeah. Why is this the most difficult part of this build? Everything else that goes on in this build, and the bit that's a pain is this last little thing. See, I've worked out how it goes on, but for some reason it dried so fast, that glue. There we go. Right. Okay, so now I should be able to glue her to the base. And I'm not going to glue that on because I think I really want to be able to paint them separate. Ooh. Oh, just had a bit of a weird moment then on my video where it crashed. So I had to restart my recording on that part. So there we go. On the base, I won't glue this on because it's going to be so much easier to paint this separately. I think it kind of wraps around her back and her body like this when it's done, so you can see it. I think it kind of sits in that nook. So definitely something that you want to probably paint separately first before gluing it in. Okay, so there we go. That's the branch switch, all nice and done. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you for the next video.